Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Speakeasy podcast. Today, I have the absolute delight of getting to sit down with one of my personal favorite Christian artists. Stephen McWhirter is the voice and the mind behind Come Jesus Come, which is just a freaking anthem. And his song Rafa is one of my favorites. But part of why I love him so much is that he is one of the most authentic people that I've seen do what he does. And he just tells his story and gives God all the glory, even though he is someone who has walked through abuse and addiction and running from God. And today we got to hear some of his story of how God radically restored him, which is also the title of his book. But we really leaned into forgiveness, what that is, what it's not, how we do it, what God's heart for it is. I think forgiveness just can get a little distorted in Christian conversations. And I think we did it a lot of justice of how God will protect us, but still asks these very hard things of us. And so I can't wait for you to hear it. Hello, Stephen. Welcome to the Speakeasy.
Oh my gosh, I love it. This is awesome.
I was telling you before we started recording, big fan. We love your music. Got to see you in New Orleans, which was really incredible. You didn't
I
sing
remember
Rafa,
that.
so I was sad, but I know you can only do so much.
I know. They were like, you get this long of time at those. And they were like, hey, you can bring a band, you can bring all this stuff. And I was like, I just think it's gonna be me and a piano player. And if we can get everybody in that room just singing to Jesus as quick as possible, that'll be a win. So,
And I mean, you were successful in that. It was
good.
phenomenal. Not in a hype you up way, but Mav was awesome, but we came because you were opening. And
Wow. Well,
love your music. And your story is one it is radical, it is redemption, it is restoration, which there's something about knowing, an artist's background that I think it does make your music hits a little bit harder, if that makes sense. Just when you know that people have walked through and lived in the valley,
yeah.
and then they're singing, you have never left me, and that he has healed me. It hits a little different. And so for the poor souls that are here that aren't familiar with the story, sir, will you give us the podcast version of what you have walked through? And then we're going to talk about forgiveness, which is a big part of your story.
Yeah. I gotta say, even as a worship, as a songwriter, as an artist, or whatever it is I am, I don't know, but person who eats cereal. So, but whatever it is, authenticity is pretty big for me, and I think if you read my story or hear my story, you'll see why it's always been like that. And so, I don't sing a song that I'm not like, okay, I need to sing this, and I can believe this. I don't have much of a stomach to do otherwise. So it's kind of just the way I am, to my own chagrin sometimes, right? But anyways, my dad was an evangelist, and so we traveled from church camp to church camp. And the guy that I saw growing up, what I saw behind a pulpit preaching to Jesus was different than the guy I saw at home. At home, we'd watch him literally violently, physically abuse my mom. And it was super traumatic and just wild. It was my entire childhood I saw this. And so I decided, if God's real, he's not good. I don't want anything to do with this Jesus guy. My heavenly father and my earthly father were the villains, right, in my story. And so throughout my teens, from 11 years old on up into my early 20s, I was in extreme addiction, and 6 or 7 years of it was crystal meth, and I was using every day for many, many years. And man, I hated Jesus so much during this time. I hated Christians so much during this time, which is such a crazy thing to say out loud. I'm not saying that, by the way, to be like, ooh, this will sell books and this will shock people. No, it's like, God, no. I mean, it was really dark. And you might be like grateful for the stories that God gives us, that he uses them for good, but going through it, it's not awesome. I mean, it's just
Don't
not.
sign me up for
Nobody's
that.
going through that stuff going, oh, this is going to make a great book someday. No,
God,
it's awful.
yeah.
But yeah, so I was just in this really dark place, but there were people praying for me, like for real praying for me, like interceding on behalf of, my life. And long story short, God was after me. And somebody gave me this book called The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel, and I miraculously accepted it without cussing this person out and kicking them out of my house. Actually, this person, it was my sister through someone. She gave it to somebody who gave it to me.
Mm.
And what's really crazy as I get into this more, my dad actually gave her that book to give to me. And wild. Had I known it came from him, I would have definitely thrown them out of my house.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That's protection that you didn't know.
Right. Anyways, fast forward, it's 3:00 in the morning. I'm in this room. I've got drugs on the side table next to me. I'm reading this book that Lee wrote about Jesus. And, it seems like the most impossible place to get saved. Like there's no you can get saved in a pew. You can get saved at a church. Obviously, people do all the time. At places where I'm speaking, people do at churches. But for whatever reason, the Lord knew it had to be in this place, right? Where I met him. And I just remember being like, God, I want to give you my life. I really do. I believe this is real. I want to give you my life. I want to quit all this addiction, all this darkness, all this anger that I've known for so much of my life. But honestly, I just remember being like, God, there's no way. I can't do that. This is not going to happen. I want to, but it's just not. And I just remember in a thought more powerful than words, like I knew this thought wasn't from me, right? Mm-hmm. And I knew it was from the Lord. It was this, Stephen, you won't do it. I'll do it. And this is, I didn't know it then. I know it now, but it's Ephesians 2:8. You're saved by grace. This isn't something you can boast about. It's a work of God. He does it. But there's something you and I can do. This is what Jesus says in John 6:29. The only work the Father asks of you is to believe. The only work. And that's what I did. I believed. I believe like I'm breathing air right now. I believe this chair that I'm sitting on and hold me up. Right? I just believed and fell to my knees, gave my life to Jesus, quit everything. Went from addiction to redemption, meth addict to worship leader for a Heart Up Church like a year later. And this feels like the end of my story, but it's not. It's the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my like come to Jesus moment. And I guess you're right. Like if the people that know that, they do listen to my music and engage with me in a different way. It's almost like I should like do shows and like right before I start go, hey everybody, I'm Stephen McWhirter. I was a meth addict, gave my life to Jesus. Everybody get ready, let's go. Hey.
And I mean, to be clear, your music is incredible without knowing the story.
No,
I mean,
it's good.
Come Jesus Come. Are you kidding me? Like if that's not an anthem of the hearts of people living today, I don't know what is. And as you were talking, I was thinking,
need it as much as anybody, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and that's why your music resonates, is that like it's the cry of your heart as well. And that's really clear. But I was thinking about, I think a lot of people have a similar experience of like, even if it's not salvation, it may be sin or it may be restoration, whatever it is, like I can't. Right. And what always comes to mind is Philippians 1:6, like he who begun a good work in you will carry it on to completion. That like, we think we're the starting point. We're like, if I do this, then God can like pick it up and help me carry it. And it's like,
it's you're saved by grace. Now I'll take it from here.
Right.
Kind of a mindset, but it's never worked like that. And that's what makes the gospel good news, is what it means. And if you're not hearing good news, you're not hearing the gospel. Yeah. But that's what makes it good news. That's also what makes it super offensive to some people. Yeah.
Because I'm going to go 10 toes down that this is the good news, and that you can't save yourself, and that you can't fix your life. And that, I mean, as a, recovering like hustler, productivity addict, that whole.
I don't know that I'm recovering from that yet, but I know what you mean.
I like to say that I'm recovering. I like to say that God's like working.
I'm trying.
On me. Yeah.
I am trying.
And like just surrendering that that part is offensive. And I think it is what holds a lot of people back from the fullness that's available in a relationship with Jesus, is this like, I have to pull myself up by my bootstraps. I have to like clean everything up first before I
Mm,
can come to him. And he's like, I love the people that are like, what is like, come as you are, you're just not going to stay that way. You
hmm.
know, that like he is going
Yeah.
to radically change everything about you, but like show up. Look at the disciples, dude.
Oh no.
They were a hot mess and
Yeah.
he called upon them. And also
Yeah.
we have to take a moment for Lee Strobel. He is
Mm-hmm.
also he's like, I would call him like one of the fathers of my faith. The Case for Christ was a huge deal for me. Got to
Yeah.
interview him. He's just a freaking gem. He wrote the foreword to your book as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How
Which is great.
wild is that?
Yeah, that's crazy. I always tell people, it's like, imagine, I mean, this didn't happen, but imagine, you go back 20 some odd years ago to that guy in that room, the kid in that room, the meth addict in that room.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, in 20 some odd years, you're going to write a story, your story, all of it. And the guy whose book you're reading right now is going to write the forward, and I'm going to use your story to draw people to me like I'm doing with you right now. That's God. He does that, not people.
No.
Um, no, not like that.
No.
So it is wild. And Lee is an absolute really great guy. I
Just
mean,
a
like
gem of a human.
Yeah. I mean, he could have a family in another country that nobody knows about, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say he doesn't.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that
Yeah.
the few times I've gotten to talk to him, I think
he's super sweet.
think he's the real deal.
Yeah.
One of the things that you get into in the book pretty extensively is forgiveness. And I appreciate that it is not something that you just kind of touch on, like, hey, I forgave my dad and now let's move on. You know, like you really dig in there, because that is, I think everybody listening, and I am counting myself in that, can think of someone that it has either been incredibly difficult to forgive or they are still battling that out. And what I appreciate, where I kind of wanted to start with that, is that you didn't dress it up and make it like it's all forgiven and it's fine and it's all
Right.
like pretty and idyllic. Like you're very honest about what your father put your family through, put your mother through. You don't clean that up at all. But then you do the same thing with, ultimately like what God asked of you, which was forgiving him, not for him, but for yourself.
I would say it's both, but I
Both,
know what you
yeah.
mean. I know what you mean. And I think, so, like I gave my life to Jesus, right? And I always tell people, if I can get like sensei for a minute, but it was like you give your life to Jesus and then it's like you drop a pebble in the ocean, right? That becomes like a tsunami of grace that starts to hit areas of your life that you did not expect or even think about. Because, for me, when I got saved, I was like, wow, if I could just be sober and be okay and not burn my life down, that would be great. But God's like, that's cool, but we're going to do more than that. And so I just remember one of the first things is because I'm reading the Bible and I'm like, I mean, I had such a wild encounter with the Lord where I knew he was real in this way where it wasn't like a Sunday school class. Not that it couldn't have happened there again, but it was just like, oh my gosh, this is real. Like, this is all real. And so I started reading the Bible through that lens. And when I got to the part about, as I'm reading the things Jesus is saying, I'm like, okay, this is real. He's real. It's all real. I need to pay attention to this. This is really important, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just like I was reading like for like to win like a Bible memory verse championship or something, but it was like, oh my gosh, this is all real. And I read it. And I get to the part where Jesus is like, and forgive your enemies and forgive those who trespass against you and all this kind of stuff. And Peter says, how many times should I forgive my enemies, Lord? He's like, 7 times. And Jesus is like, no, 7 times, 77 times. Like, don't even, I was with Tony Evans and he said it like this. He's like, don't even count.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. The math is hard.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, got it. Don't count, just do it. And when I read that, I was like, okay. It was funny. I can't believe it. I did think this at the moment. I don't know if I put this in the book or not, but I did think, well, now who's my enemy?
Mm.
And I went,
Mm.
oh no, it's my dad. He is my greatest enemy. Oh no, I have to forgive him? No.
Yeah.
No, not him. No, not him.
And at this
That's
point,
not
y'all are
right.
like, it's a hard no contact
No,
situation, or
not really. It's just a deep, deep, deep hatred
yeah,
for him that
yeah,
is, that's just there. I don't know how to
yeah,
explain it. It's like, most anybody that has a parent in that situation knows what I mean.
yeah,
It's like you might see them and be semi cordial, but
yeah.
inside you're like, I
Seething.
can't stand this person.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, so I just remember like, God, not him. This is unimaginable. And so, but I'm going to do it. He's real. It's all real. I got to. I don't have a choice. And so
yeah.
I drive out to their house and I see my dad. He's in the quintessential dad and his lazy boy, and I'm like, hey, we need to talk. And I said, hey, I just want to tell you, I forgive you for all the things we went through as kids, mom, all the things. I just said it really fast, awkwardly. And my dad looks at me like a deer in headlights, and it's just like reality is cracking. And he's like, thank you. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, all right, well, bye. And I just get in my car and drive off. Like you wouldn't
Yeah.
put it in a movie. It was not magical. It was just awkward.
Yeah.
But I always say, I knew though, beyond that weird experience, that was not cool at all, that I knew God had done something beyond what I could see. I just didn't realize how far it would go yet. And, now you need to understand, at this point in my story, my dad, he had stopped physically abusing my mom when I was around 10 or 11 years old or something like
Yeah.
that, or 10 years old. I can't remember.
I think you said 10 in the book.
Okay, thank you. That's why there's a book, because I had to really think about it.
Yeah.
And we had, I remember my mom, we left in the middle of the night to get away from him. It was so bad. It was crazy. And but we came back like 24 hours later. It was just, ugh. I was so
That's
mad
terrible.
at her.
Yeah.
She's the victim and I'm mad at her, right?
Yeah.
That's terrible. But
You're
I was
a
mad
kid.
at her, and she, for not leaving him and all that. But he didn't touch her since. So at this point in my story, when I got saved, it had been, 11 years or more since he had done anything like that. But I still just could not forgive him or condone it or let go of it. And so, that was still there, even though, and I always tell people, look, I wish my mom would have left my dad. She didn't. I don't condone it. It is what it is. If you're not safe, get safe, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But God used this crazy situation still because he's good. And my wife, my fiance at the time, was like, hey, I think your dad, I feel like the Lord, she never was like, God told me. She never did that. But she was just like, hey, I feel like this is the thing we should do. We should have your dad baptize us. I'm like, this is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. On our way to get baptized.
After you've had the
Yeah.
lazy boy forgiveness conversation?
Yes.
Okay.
And she's like, hey, we're engaged at the time. And she was like, I think your dad should baptize us. And she's gotten saved. She's been watching to see if I meant it. And, so on our way to go get baptized, we get in the biggest screaming, cussing match ever, on our way to get baptized. We probably should have drove faster, but we get there still. We pushed through because we knew something was up. And we get there. It was beautiful. My dad baptized us. It actually was a really special moment.
Yeah.
And my mom tells me my dad that night wept all night over the idea that God could restore all that he had broken. Fast forward a little bit more, we're soon to get married, and my wife says, hey, I think your dad should perform our wedding ceremony. We're lucky we're married, right, today, but it was great. It was beautiful. Now, at the time of telling this story to you, Blake, my dad's been passed from cancer for over 12 years or so.
Yeah.
And when people go into hospice, like during the times where they're about to leave this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they're in hospice, they go into a coma, right, where they're non-responsive. If anybody's ever gone through this, it's really tough. But
yeah,
they're non-responsive, But the nurses and doctors and hospice team will tell you they can hear you though, and they're holding on because they feel like they can't let go. And if you tell them it's okay to let go, we love you, it's all right. Normally, people will pass after that.
Mhm.
Shortly after, well, we had done this. My dad had been like a week or so, and we're just like, okay. My mom leaves the room, and it's just me and my dad in the room for this moment. And I remember sitting there watching him struggle to breathe, and I'm thinking about the whole Peter saying 7 times, and Jesus being like, "No, forgive 77 times 7. Just keep doing it." So I walk over to my dad. I lean down, tears in my eyes. One last time, I say, "Dad, I love you, and I really do forgive you." And he breathes his last breath, and he leaves this world. And in that moment, my story is, well, yeah, I'm forgiven, right? That's easy. You forgave me. That's great. Thank you, Jesus. Wait, I have to forgive people too. That's the thing. And when I saw this with my dad, and I knew that like one of the most important things that we can do on this side of eternity, you and I, one of the most Jesus like things we can do is to forgive.
Yeah.
It's that hard. It's that simple. It's crazy because here's the thing: a debt or forgiveness is about a legitimate debt that somebody owes you. Like
Yeah.
somebody's wronged you and done something to you, and it's real. And you have the ability to take that debt like Jesus did. And I know this is going to sound like a Sunday school lesson. You're going to, yeah. But listen, please. You have the ability to take that debt and like rip it up for real and throw it away.
Yeah.
And it's not just for the other person, it's also for you, because you think by holding on to the unforgiveness, you're like punishing them, but you're really just punishing yourself and just like drinking poison, right?
Yeah.
And so I will say this though, with forgiveness, it's different than there's a difference between forgiveness, I believe, and a reconciliation.
100%.
And what I mean is like, Jesus is reconciled to us. Like he's in relationship with us. That's crazy. But on this side of eternity, the truth is, it doesn't always mean you're going to be in a relationship still with that person. You're going to allow them access. Like you could forgive someone, genuinely love them, but not allow them into your life if they are abusive, destructive. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, there are consequences in the side of eternity. So I'm not saying that, but I am saying that you forgive them.
Yep.
And when I say that, I don't mean like the call them up and go, I just want you to know, I forgive you.
Right.
You know what I mean when I say forgive them. It's the thing you don't want to do. It's the thing that you believe in the lie that you're going to let them win. Right?
Or like off the hook.
Or off the hook or whatever, which is like, no, God's got that with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't, leave that to in his court.
Yep.
Set yourself free and in many ways be the most like Jesus you can be on this side of eternity.
I think one of the funniest parts of being adult is how often health insurance really will just come up in normal everyday conversations. And that is true for me a lot, which is why a couple months ago, I had the CEO of Crowd Health on to just talk about how the system works, how it has a tendency to really prey on people that don't understand that they have other options, and to present Crowd Health as an option. Crowd Health is a health insurance alternative, and the way that it works is you pay your monthly part and you get access to so much. You get access to lower cost prescriptions, lower cost labs. You get a list of vetted doctors, a team that will negotiate your bills. And then if something big happens, you pay the first $500 and then the rest of the crowd steps in and covers the rest of it for you, which is really how things should work. So you can join Crowd Health to get started for $99 for your first 3 months by using the code SPEAKEASY when you go to joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com, code SPEAKEASY. Remember, Crowd Health is not insurance, but you can opt out of the broken system and take your power back. You can do that at joincrowdhealth.com. Forgiveness is, I think sometimes it can be hard to describe to someone what it feels like when Because I think if we're honest, we could all tell a story of a time where we did the like, I just want you to know that I forgive you, but you're still like just this festering like wound that had you like, I'm just saying the words because Jesus told me to. Maybe it's just me, but I've definitely been in that situation as well. Versus, I actually had this moment with something last year where like I appreciate that you're like, no, like people will wrong you. Like this isn't acting like people don't do hurtful, harmful, horrible things. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember sitting on my back porch and a bunch of stuff had happened with this person. I was just ate up. I was ate up with it. And I remember just being like, having this moment that was completely the Holy Spirit where I was so aware and in awe of what I had been forgiven of. Like that a perfect man would do what he did so that I could be with him forever. And it felt like this thing got this big. Like it just shrunk in
Right.
in in view of what I have been forgiven of. I'm not trying to like bypass.
Minimalize it too. Yeah,
I'm
I
not
get it.
minimalizing at all. Like it hurt and it sucked and it was wrong.
Yeah.
And it was like when in view of what I'd been forgiven of, what I was being asked to forgive when it shrunk, it was like what was eating me alive shrunk too. And then it was this thing that I could hold in my hand and go, oh, I can let this go. Like I can forgive them of this. And
Yeah.
potentially never speak to this person again. Honestly. You know,
Right.
like
Sure.
and not let this happen again. And if any kind of reconciliation is ever going to happen, like I'm pretty big on like there's got to be some admittance of wrong on that person's part. Like they need to have some concept that what was done wasn't right because I think it can make it really hard to move forward.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I do think sometimes that's not always in your court, and
Mm-mm.
that's like,
I don't think it's in your
okay,
court at
let's
all.
say let's say they don't.
Yeah.
Um, do we just never forgive them? Still, which can
No,
hurt
I'm
us.
talking
No,
about the
I know you're not saying
reconciliation
that.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, the reconciliation side, totally no.
No, I
And
think that
I'm
forgiveness is so much easier when somebody's sorry.
yeah, sure,
That's like
totally.
a
But
completely different ballpark.
but the reconciliation part too, it's like, yeah, people totally, you can totally be reconciled. To somebody, I'm not saying that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not, yeah, like I agree, you're right. It's
It's
like, but if there's
harder.
like no, I don't think I don't think you should be in a relationship with somebody that's clearly done something terrible and will not admit it
Right.
and won't
Right.
deal with it. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's different. That's
It
like,
is.
you might be dealing with a psychopath. But
Right.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying, like,
Well, I
uh,
think what it comes down to is reconciliation really requires a rebuilding of trust. Like
right,
relationships are built on trust. And so if we are going to reconcile and this thing happened and in your worldview there is not no wrongdoing was done, that's incredibly difficult to rebuild trust with
sure,
that
totally.
person's discernment and wisdom. But something that I'm also learning is that like I have a tendency to be a bit all or nothing, like black and
Oh yeah,
white.
I'm
Yes.
very, very, very much that. Yeah.
And Jesus is somewhere in the middle almost all of the time. I think there are definitely some things he's very black and white on, but
I think it's truth and it's not, and I think it's life and it's death. But
yeah.
I do think though what that looks like is different for our views of black and white. Like for him,
Yeah.
like we from eternity. Let's be honest. Probably the smartest thing I can tell people sometimes is say, "I don't know."
Mm.
That's like the
Yeah. Yeah.
smartest thing I can probably say to somebody sometimes because we hate to say I don't know. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can watch people scramble for the answer. But like on this side of eternity, if his ways are not my ways and his ways are higher than mine and all of there are going to be times where I'm going to be wrong or I'm not
Absolutely.
going to know. And on some of those things, yeah, I don't know. All I can do
Right.
is go with the what did he say? and then just do that. And
Right.
because this stuff, people, it's just it's hard.
It
But I
is.
do know that there's an actual kingdom thing that happens in forgiveness that isn't always about the other person. I mean, it's not. I mean, you hope that they will enter into it, and you hope that they will find healing, and you hope that there's like a beautiful story that'll come out of that, right?
Absolutely.
But if it's not, you still did what Jesus did. You
Yeah.
still loved them and forgave them. You just didn't let them in access. You didn't condone. You just forgave and loved.
Right. And that was kind of what I was thinking was like, I have in that black and white kind of worldview, it's like reconciliation or estrangement. It's like
Yeah.
there's there is
We,
that's like literally actively learning that right now.
the hard part about it too is like, I always say, like, Jesus 100% loves your worst enemy.
Yeah.
There are some people in other countries that people see and go, those are clearly our enemies. And if they die, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. And I sometimes bad things happen, whatever, but Jesus 100% hates that worst person and wants them to
Loves
turn to
that
him,
worst person.
loves them.
Yeah.
Did I say hate?
You did. It's
Oh, well,
okay.
that was me. That was Stephen talking. That was my deep
Freudian
inside.
slip.
Yes, right. I was like I
Yeah.
said, Jesus
No, but it, yeah.
100% loves that terrible, the worst person to us ever, and
And
wants
they're
them to
made in
turn to
his
him.
image.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's
And
hard for us to get our head around.
it is. And that's kind of where that like all or nothingness can get in our own way. I think
Right.
when we're like, no, like this is the structure. This is where I want this person to fit. And it's like, okay, but the economy of Christ is completely upside down. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
And like, here's a great example. I remember yesterday I posted like a video. I'm never political. If you can go through all my stuff, you'll never see political conversation. I think it typically puts up a block where people stop listening. Like, you're only going to get the people that agree with you to listen more,
or the
and the
people that
people
like
that
really,
don't.
really disagree with you.
Yeah, it's like never. I don't see it helping what I'm trying to do, which is just build the kingdom.
Right.
For me
Yeah.
personally. But I did, just from a kingdom perspective, I saw that, we bombed Iran, all this stuff was going on. So I posted a video just saying, hey, look, we need to really pray for these people, for God to like draw them to Jesus, for there to be like, healing and all these things. And so we prayed, and that was it. And I saw, get obviously an overwhelming amount of people going, hey man, let's pray, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And, but you always get those people going, yes, I will pray for the people that'll turn to Jesus, but the terrorists, I'm praying they will die. And I went, well, I understand why you would say that.
Mm-hmm.
But for Jesus, nope, pray for the terrorists.
Yeah.
That's insane. That to our Western minds is unthinkable.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, oh, Stephen's not an American. No, I'm not. You know what? I'm not. I'm a follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
My citizenship is in heaven. My citizenship is in, I'm grateful for this country. I don't want to live somewhere else. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But my citizenship is not here. And I want all these people that Jesus wants.
Exactly. I want all of them.
That's so hard. Now, I know there's a lot of things there. Don't get me wrong. And
absolutely, because we have to be willing to. So I used to be very, very political. It's like my background. It was my college,
sure,
my undergrad. Like it's my whole direction. God,
and I know that what I just said, there are 50 different thousand ways people can go, oh yeah, well, what about this and what about that, and I'll say,
that's not the
you're
point.
right. You're right. There are a million things. I'm just talking generally. Well, Jesus loves the worst human you can imagine.
Yeah, like we should look different, and that the way that we talk about it should look different, and that we should be able to. Yes, like I want the Ayatollah. Well, he's dead, but I wanted the Ayatollah of Iran to have a radical encounter with the Prince of Peace. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yes, we should all want that.
And if somebody really terrible is, got a gun to my family, I'm going to try to protect my family. But I would love for that person to instead encounter the love of Jesus.
Exactly.
But that's not black and white, I know, but my
Right.
heart still, I can protect my family and I can love that person at the same time.
Yeah. And that's really, really hard. And it makes people really
Mhm.
uncomfortable,
Yeah.
because I think that there is the balance there of like looking at the Old Testament and how God dealt with enemies of his people. And we can't get squeamish around that either. And so
Yeah.
I think it is it is honestly like a very complex conversation that I don't know is always going to be incredibly productive in Instagram squares. I think like what you said it is though, like, and it's so funny because I posted something
Well,
similar of like
I,
praying, and you definitely get the people who are like, yeah, because thoughts and prayers have always worked. I'm like, yeah, they have. They have.
no, and it's okay. I mean, I still, I understand. Life is so funny. It's like I think about the things that I believed,
Mm,
like that I stood on, that were like, oh my gosh, this is like unshakable. If you
hmm.
disagree with me, we can't be friends. These things that I thought like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, heck, 5, 6 years ago, that now I go, oh, no, I don't think that. That's not it. I mean,
Right.
the only things that have stayed true is like Jesus is Lord, God's real, the Bible's trustworthy, people matter.
I love my
Outside of
wife.
that,
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, sure, sure. No, I think. Oh my
yeah, throw that
gosh,
one in there.
shoot, of course, absolutely. But those four fundamental things guide
Yeah.
all those other things. Like I love my wife. Obviously those flow from those four.
Yeah.
But some of those things I just go, wow, I was off on that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I made that a bigger deal than it should have been.
If you're not
Now,
changing, you're
now,
not
now,
growing.
now, apply that to eternity.
Mm.
You're in eternity. You're looking back on this life. There are going to be so many things. I'm going to be like, oh my gosh,
Dang
I
it.
was I was an idiot,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that I just say all that to say, uh, it's hard to know exactly um, what's going to last from here. Opinions that we have, things that we have, but those things like Jesus is Lord, people matter, God's real, like those things, they don't change. My whole life, those have never changed. In the history of the world, those have never changed,
Yeah.
and they guide everything. And those things say, love people.
Yeah.
And that's all I know. And I'm not sure if everything else is probably above my pay grade, and I won't
Right.
know until someday. So yeah.
Yeah. I always like to close with some like tangibility. And so people are listening that have been abused, they have been betrayed, they have experienced a drop or a bucket of the hardship that you have
Mm.
shared. What is like the first small, realistic step towards having a conversation like the one that you did with your dad?
Um, I'll make this really easy because I don't think, I'm not going to say go read my book. I'm not going to say this or that. I mean, you can, that's fine. I don't know, whatever. But here's the deal. Um, God is real. So ask him
Mhm. Yeah.
to give you his heart for that person, not your heart, his heart for that person.
Yeah.
Now, here's the good news. His heart also cares about you.
Mm.
His heart also says, you're my daughter, you're my son, I'm going to protect you. But
Mhm.
I want you to love them and let me take care of that. I also don't, this is the same God. If he's your father, he wants to protect his daughter. He wants to protect his son. So it's okay for you to be safe, and it's okay for those things. But to ask for his heart for that person, he feels the same way about them.
Yeah.
And he wants to heal them. He wants to pull them out of the brokenness. And that's something he'll do.
Yeah.
And if you ask for his heart, you may not even be able to go talk to this person yet. I don't know. My
Yeah.
situation with my dad was whatever. You can't always go to the person and talk to them.
No, yeah.
Um, but you can still like forgive them, like
Yeah.
for real. They may have passed. They may not be in this world anymore.
Yeah.
And that bitterness and that wound that is literally choking the life out of you, the Lord wants to remove it, and He removes it with this crazy thing called love. This
Mm.
crazy thing that is actually more powerful than all the other stuff, and it's not just some nice idea for a song or something. It's true.
Yeah.
Um, anyways, yeah, go ask
No.
Him. He's
Yeah.
real.
And I love that that really circles back to how we started the conversation, which was like, we don't have to do the heavy lifting. But like, He
Hmm.
wants us to come to Him with our
Yeah,
stuff and our baggage and lay it at His feet and let Him do the work in us and
hmm,
through us and for us. And I
yeah,
think what you said is so important, that like God is not asking you to forgive this person and then like let them shank you. You know what I mean? Like it's not, he like, He's a good father and
yeah.
He watches out for His kids, and forgiving is Him watching out for you, but he's not going to ask you to like stand in the line of fire on that all the time. So
No, and like I said, He's a dad. He's a
yeah.
father, and He will protect you, and He does care about you.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
good. That's so good. Stephen, thank you so much for
Oh,
your
it's
time.
awesome.
I know you're a busy dude, so thanks for taking the time to cut out and be with us.
No, this is great. I'm glad it worked out.